Let's go!
Hey Paul, are you ready for another episode of Product and Cake?
I sure am, Gonche. I'm really excited to talk about GPT-3 today. It's such a fascinating and potentially game-changing technology.
Definitely. GPT-3 has the ability to generate human-like text, which could have huge implications for the product and tech world.
Absolutely. In this episode, we want to discuss the potential impact of GPT-3 and what changes it could bring. We'll also explore some of the potential drawbacks and concerns surrounding this technology.
Sounds like a great discussion. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. And as always, thank you for joining us on Product and Cake.
So, in case you felt like this explanation or this opening was the best we've ever had, it is because we didn't write it.
Yes.
It is written by ChatGPT.
Exactly. And as mentioned already by the AI in the introduction, it is basically a chat interface where you can type in everything and you get answers.
I, as an example, just right before, asked it to tell me an explanation of ChatGPT in a funny way, and it gave this as a response. ChatGPT is like having a robotic best friend who's always available to chat and offer advice, even if it's not always the best advice. So if you're feeling lonely or just need someone to talk to, just hit up ChatGPT, and they'll be happy to listen and provide some semi-coherent responses.
That's unbelievable. And I think what fascinates me so much about it, that you can now, inside of the chat, you could type, no, make it more technically. And the AI got the context and is understanding that it was explaining something and that this explanation should change now to something else. So it's a real dialogue.
Yeah, I'm not technical at all, so I don't necessarily understand what's happening there. But at least to compare it to other personal assistants or other AI chats that I've tried before, it is mind-blowing to me that I can tell it a new command, like make it shorter, make it funnier, add my name to it, and then it understands that this is related to the previous thing that we discussed. And this for me is very interesting because I haven't seen it before. Like every time I'm telling Echo to turn off the light, and then I tell it, oh, turn on the light again, it asks me again, which light do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, it does not have any memory of what we just talked about.
Exactly. And this is something I saw for a long time in all AI kind of projects you can check out. I have also the same problem at home, that I have a light that is called living room and a speaker that is called living room. And if I say turn on the music in living room, the AI is asking, which device do you mean? And then I said the audio playback. And then it says, I don't get what you want. Please repeat. Right? And it was always like, okay, the AI will never understand and will never be able, or not in the short term, be able to really follow a conversation. And now this changes completely. And we both and the whole internet is super excited, because what it means is that you don't need to have someone explaining you something. Or in other words, the AI is able to explain you everything that is known already. And it can combine it with literal styles. For example, you could say, give me an example about climate change in the words of Edgar Allan Poe.
Ooh,
And
that's interesting.
That's crazy. And it's just a very small step. If you think about it, you could say, give me a product tech explanation about the basic principles in the words of Steve Jobs. But wait, I don't want to read all of that. Give me a podcast out of it. And then you are listening to the podcast and you have the ability to say, wait, I don't get this. Please explain it to me in other words. Or this is even easy, but you could say, hey, wait, from my experience, this is completely different, and it's much more important to check the North Star metrics instead of the OKRs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it will react and it will explain you the context and the things, how they are connected.
Yeah, one of the things that we tried, or one of the first things that we tried, was to ask it to write a ticket, and then we asked it, explained a very simple bug. Create a ticket based on the bug that the offers are not showing on the product page. And then it wrote a description. And then we asked, make it in a Jira format. And then it wrote a very beautiful ticket with steps to reproduce, the impact, how many users are affected, the expected outcome, the existing outcome, everything. It was one of the best tickets.
Yeah.
It was a proper ticket. And then we asked it that why the priority is P1. And it explained that this is impacting all of users because the offers are not shown on the product page. The product page is one of the main pages. Like, it created a very nice explanation. And then we told it that, no, it should be a P2 bug, not a P1. And it wrote, again, a couple of descriptions why it should be a P1. And then it immediately changed it and said, okay, this is a P2 bug because even though it is impacting it is not one of the main pages that we have. It is the So it was very interesting to see how I, as a product manager, can also make my life a little bit easier because, for example, writing a ticket is something that takes a lot of time. But as long as you have the main context, you can make it in a proper format with this.
Exactly. And one thing that totally blew my mind was that it was adding the section of steps to reproduce and then the expectation that the production database is working and we just set up an item and the item is saved in the database and should be shown on the page but is not shown. So, and all of that is just coming from one sentence. On our main page, the article is not listed. And that's unbelievable because it continues, not only that it has, or it took so much context out of this very generic sentence. You can talk about the ticket as you described and say, hey, no, it's lower priority or add this and that context. But then I, as a developer, can continue the conversation. And I could say, I don't get why this and that is mentioned here. And the AI will explain. So it's not one static ticket report. It's a living instance that has more information. And for us as product managers, it's very obvious that you need to set up an item first and you expect that this will be shown. But for a new joiner, maybe it's not so obvious. Or in other words, that I see always a lot of things that are so obvious for product managers who work on that product for already a long time, and it's so difficult to step back and think about, okay, if I would know nothing about the product, what should I explain? And to be honest, I'm super bored of explaining over and over again the same things for some tickets that feels like minor bugs, but the AI is never bored. It will just throw it in. And now we have this generic thing, but this will be trained to our specific use case and will be a product AI for our platform. And then you say, hey, I have this bug, and it is answering, wait, it's not a bug. The other team just implemented it like that. And then you can say why, and it will explain you and give you the market details and everything.
Yeah, so what is also interesting, I don't exactly know what are the materials that it has been fed, but do you know what are the things that it studied?
Yeah, it reads all public available content on the internet. So this is about 60% of their knowledge. And then there are some more sources of truth like Wikipedia and some other projects. I forgot which exactly, but they were very small. And GitHub, exactly. GitHub, Wikipedia, and one or two more kind of these pages. And it did it in 2021. So this is the...
And the other day we were talking, you mentioned that this has X amount of source points or something, and then there is going to be the next updating version.
Exactly. So it is a network, right? It's not a long if-then-else chain,
okay.
right? It's not recognizing, okay, she mentioned the word ticket, so I should have steps to reproduce and a title and a description. Instead, it's a network of knowledge and it predicts the next best word, right? So it takes the context and then it says, okay, there is the context poem, and a lot of poem starts, or a better example is maybe a tale, and a lot of tales starts with once upon a time. And then it starts to predict the next best word. And it does it based on the network that connects out of 175 billion connections.
Oh, wow.
So it reads all of that. It creates this massive network. And this 175 billion connections are 100 gigabyte big.
Okay.
And that's basically not much, right?
Yeah.
You have that amount of storage in your phone, easily. So you will carry that with you in a short amount of time and it will answer without the need of internet. But even more impressive, the next version that is already announced, the GPT-4, will contain 100 trillion connections.
Oh, wow.
So we are now that blown away from this 175 billion, and it will be much, much, much better and more up to date and with more knowledge. That's crazy.
It is an exponential growth of how AI has been improved in the past few years.
Yeah. And this is also a super nice picture of this exponential growth, because they say AI development is like filling the Michigan lake with water, but just you starting with a spoon. And then you double the amount of water by each round. And the time for each round is cut in half. So years over years, nothing is happening. And you see not more than a tiny
little spoon.
Exactly.
And then you dabble it each time you want to add more water. So it goes 1 spoon, 2 spoon, 4 spoon.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
And now we are on a level that the time for each round is shorter and shorter, or cut into half, and the growth is doubled, in easy words, right? So the next step will be even more unbelievable, and the step after that is even one way further that will change our jobs completely.
Yeah, this is very important, the part that you mentioned, it changes our jobs. We can look at it in two different ways. It can either take over our jobs. So there for sure are some people that will be afraid that, yeah, I'm useless now. It can write tickets instead of me. It can explain things better to the tech team. If I feed it all the documents and the data, probably it will work. It will be a better product manager that I am. Or I can look at it in a different way and say, oh, I can utilize this to make my life easier as a product manager. It takes some time for me to respond to emails in a very professional tone. Also, as a millennial, I have this innate scare of sending emails and then there is something wrong in it. There is a typo or I forgot the attachment or something. Like, I don't know if it's I
know that feeling too.
Yeah, so every email that I need to send, I'm reading it 20 times, rewriting it, and I can give it the context. Just send the email, write the email in the chat and said, write a response to this email and say yes or say no to this request. And it can write that for me. I can just copy and paste it, change a couple of words here and there probably, and send it. So it can save a lot of time for me, and then I can focus more, for example, on the strategy of the product or on the growth options and potentials of the product.
Yeah, definitely. And this is one point of view, but I mean, the AI have all the knowledge and could easily support you also in creating the strategy, making a roadmap out of it, creating designs and writing tickets. So what it is not able to do is doing creative work. As explained, it took the whole knowledge of humankind until 2021 and gives you that as a tool, and you need to make use of it.
Yeah.
And still there are humans needed to add this next level of creativity or find the blind spots of this algorithm, because it could generate an email, but maybe you need to add the extra touch in 1 or 2% of the cases. But this brings me to the question, how many product manager do you need for that? At the moment, we have a lot here. And if most of their work is automated, we maybe need 2 or 3 more that are super deep into strategy, super smart, super able to use all the tools that are available. That's one possibility. The other one is, I also see a lot of people who are not able to understand it or not willing to think about, or not even come to the idea what to ask to make their daily life easier. And that's basically exactly the same with Google, for example, where they said, okay, now all the knowledge of everything is available, but you still need to know what to Google and what is advertisement, what is real content, what is fake news, and so on. And it will become easier, but still you need to know what to ask the AI exactly.
Yeah, and it has been fed the knowledge of humanity up until 2021, as you said. And within that knowledge, there has been a lot of systematic biases as well.
Yeah.
So I think one layer of touch that we as humans still need to add to it is to make sure that these systematic biases are noticed and taken out slowly out of this.
Yeah. The EU is working on a regulation for artificial intelligences, and they define multiple levels, and the complete autonomous AI is forbidden. And then there are multiple assistant ways for humans to make use out of it, and it needs to be written down and visualized for the users and so on. So I'm pretty sure, or I know that there are a lot of smart people working on that, thinking about it. But all in all, however this will turn out, it's now a turn point in history, and we need to think about how to make use in our private lives, in our business lives. And so the idea of open AI is basically to make that open, right?
Yeah.
So nothing stops you to start to train your own model. For us, have a car model, for example, and pipe all our knowledge into it, and have an assistant. I can talk about cars and find the best rates. And we need to dive into, and I think every company that wants to survive needs to think about how to position themselves to this new technology.
Yeah.
Or this evolution step.
Yeah, we need to be able to utilize it in a way that pushes us forward.
Exactly. And it pushes you forward on a private life.
Yeah.
I got a picture book with a poor quality, and I just gave the AI the sentence, the quality is poor, I want to complain, and it generates me a perfect email that is super friendly and asking for help. And it took me 30 seconds to give the context, to copy paste the answer and send it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I also asked it for some quick pasta recipes and to what to eat for lunch. I mean, I'm still in the phase that I'm playing around a lot with it. I'm asking to turn everything into funny poems.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. Also, songs is super interesting. It's crazy, and it's now the time to play with it and to don't be scared and talk with people about it. That at least helped me a lot, because I also felt already very depressed over the weekend when I just starting. But
thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Of course, I'm looking forward what we will make out of it.
Yeah. I'm also very interested what is going to happen in the music industry, because we already have a lot of AI generated music, but mainly without a lyric.
Yeah.
And this can provide that the written version of it. So combined, we can have the AI, OpenAI winning all the trophies next year in AMAs.
Maybe we will see it, and for sure there will be a label AI generated. I
Yeah.
guess, and some black sheeps who use it but don't state it. It's definitely a very, very big topic, and I'm sure we will talk about this again.
For sure. But if you have some time, check it out. It's really fun.
You should take the time because it's changing everything right now.
We will link it.
You find it Googling, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Bye. All right. So thank you for listening up to this point. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it, right?
Yes, totally. Feedback and questions and also opposite opinions are always welcome.
And also, if you have any recommendation for us, what topic to talk about, if you have any person in mind that you think we should interview for any specific topic you have in mind, we would love to hear that. So you can send it to us via email.
Yeah, sure. Or via social media networks, you will find us, I guess.
Yes, there will be some info of how to contact us in the description.
Yeah,
Look for it.
Or send it via snail mail to mobile.de office and write CO Product and Cake Podcast. So a lot of people will know about the podcast then.
That's a good point. Let's do it. Thank you. And bye again.